going to take a little pit stop on this wall to talk about the ego, my ego. As this channel now is getting a lot of new subscribers daily, new people coming on, and some people feeling like I am a certain something, and I should be a little more humble, and I should be less egotistical, and if I think I'm spiritual and I meditate, then I should be this and I should be that. Well, I'll tell you what I should be, and if you don't like listening to it, then you can go and listen to Muji, meditation, peace. And you pay $2,000 for a weekend of that bullshit. Oh my God. I've listened to them all, people, and I've seen ego in every single one of them, by the way. Now, when people look at me and they start talking about how, my ego is, out of control, and, you think you're this and you think you're that, and, you should try to be more humble, and I don't need to do anything. And I will never do anything on the beck and call of anybody else. And at the end of the day, you see, when people are pointing the finger at me, they have to look into their palm and see that there are 3 fingers pointing back at them. And so when they are giving me a dose of ego, which is like 25%, they've got 75% ego pointing back at them. So when you, the viewer, any of you, have a problem with my ego, where does the problem lie? Because I don't have a problem with it, and many other people don't have a problem with it. So if I don't have a problem with it, and many other people don't, where is the problem? Well, oops, lo and behold, it's with you, isn't it? It's your ego. So it's the kettle calling the teapot. Your ego is calling my ego, and your ego saying meh, 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 about my ego. But I'm just like, I'm fucking cool. There's no problems going on here. Yeah, I'm great. I'm a brilliant mind. I'm a brilliant person. I always have been. I'm gifted. And so one viewer sent, about 4 or 5 links of people talking about ego in films and things like that. And so I listened to a couple of them before I got really bored. And then I just sent a couple of my own back, which is Muhammad Ali screaming that he's the greatest. He's the greatest, he's the greatest, I'm the youngest, I'm the prettiest. Who didn't love that? Of course, in the early days, most people hated that shit, particularly because he was black and he was cocky. In America in the 60s, black people were supposed to be stepping off the pavement when a white person walks by, and, who was it? Sarah Parks, she wouldn't get to the back of the bus, and all this sort of stuff. And so, America, the land of the free, there was still in the dark ages when it comes to equal rights, only a few decades ago. And so, yeah, and then some people could say, yeah, well, you could back it up. I can back it up. You come on a Zoom chat or Google Meet with me, I'll fucking back it up. My mouth will batter you in 15 rounds. Convincingly, you will lose every single every single of the rounds on points, and I won't knock you out. I could knock you out in the first round, but I won't, because I make you suffer. Like Ali used to make people suffer when they wouldn't recognise he was Muhammad Ali and not Cassius Clay. And he used to say, what's my name? What's my name? Tell me my name. Say my name. And then we go, oh. And then at the end, I'm the greatest, I'm the prettiest, and all that. Where's the fault in that? Where's the problem with ego? Now let's have a look at another huge ego at this moment in time. Donald Trump. Donald Trump has got 50% of the American voting populace on his side. They all love a bit of Donald Trump's ego. And so people love ego. They really do. The ones that don't love ego are the shrinking violet type that are just like meek, and they think humble is a virtue, and they think that the meek will inherit the earth, but all the meek are going to inherit is slavery. That's what the meek are going to inherit. And if you look at history, and if you look at the world now, where people are being more and more subservient and meek, well, what's happening to them? They're becoming more and more imprisoned and more enslaved as the weeks pass by. And so the meek will not inherit anything except their own slavery and punishment, and they will get their just deserts, because you have to fight for your rights. You have to fight for anything in this life which is worth anything, because there's too many people and variables around looking for the same resources. And so if you don't fight dog eat dog type thing, then you ain't gonna get it. And so your meek and humble nature, well, that will just leave you on your own. And for instance, if any of my squirrels were meek and humble, they'd die of starvation. And so, you know, so when I look at people who have got something to say about ego, then I go onto their channel and I see, you know, if they've got any videos, or if they've got, like, you know, a picture, or what their channel's called, and it's going to be something really meek and humble. And I'm like, well, look, the world's yin and yang, people. And it might be that, you know, you had a terrible childhood, and, you know, you were abused, and now you can't stand violence, you've not got the stomach for it, and anybody says that this and that, and anybody raises their voice, then you're terrified, you start to cry, all these sorts of things. Yeah, there's lots of people around like that. But just because you're like that, you can't expect the world to fit into your insecurities and your desires. You have to look at the world and you go, well, that's how the world is, so I guess best get a bit stronger. I best build my ego up a little bit more. What would it be like if I built my ego up more, if I was stronger, and if I went, yeah, I'm fucking great too, you think you're great, I'm great too, in actual fact I'm greater than you, great, way to go. Because if you keep on saying that, then, you know, before long, people will believe you. Because it's the oldest trick in the propaganda book. It's like Herman Goebbels said. He was the propaganda minister for the German National Party. And he said, if you keep saying, you know, something long enough, then it will become true. It will actually become a truth in the psyche of the people, the zeitgeist of the time. And so, you know, there's things to consider. And some videos, my ego isn't anything like as pronounced as it is in others. But there'll never be too many videos before my ego comes back online. And, you know, you long-term viewers, you would know that I have a name for my ego, and he is called Supercilious. And those of you that understand what supercilious means, well, that's my ego. It's kind of like a dominating, demeaning, self-righteous variety of character that looks down on the pathetic minions and has no qualms about telling them how pathetic they are. But you see, I get great strength from reading many of the brilliant brains on this planet who have said exactly the same things. And this current book I'm reading now about Parmenides, you know, who lived a couple of thousand years ago, he weren't pulling no punches. And nor do any of them. Any people that were great in some shape or form, they don't pull no punches. And there's nothing worse, in my estimation, when you've got people who are brilliant that are also meek and humble on YouTube, and they don't ever want to say anything to upset the pathetic facet of the human race. They could never say anything, might offend this person, might offend that person. Oh, good God. And some of you may remember in a recent video I'm speaking about the many worlds hypothesis theory, and talking about Sean Carroll. And Lex Fridman said to him, well, what if people don't get this many worlds thing? What are you going to do about that? And he's like, basically what he said was, it's not my fucking problem, I'm not their fucking mother. What he actually said was, well, you can know about the efficacy and veracity of this in the hypothetical sort of facets of knowledge, but it takes a lot of work, and if you're not prepared to put the work in, too bad. And that's it. Kind of like you just washed his hands of it. Basically he said, well, people have got to fucking wake the fuck up, and they've got to do the work. If they don't understand something, I'm sorry, but the universe just doesn't curtail to their ignorance. The universe goes on. And, whether things are a reality or close on a reality or hypothesized or theorized about being a reality just because somebody doesn't like it. And, it really is too bad. And it's like all these Christians that just don't like anybody saying something about their Jesus. Oh, it's the most sickly, pathetic... what can you say about that? Form of hypnosis. The most pathetic and sickly, ridiculous form of hypnosis that the human race has ever been under, alongside Islam, of course. But that's just how it is. Just goes to show that there is proof in the pudding when clever people state it plain as day. The world is full of NPCs, non-playing characters. And Joe Rogan, just about in every other breath, on his podcast, when he's speaking to his mates, when he's having a few whiskies and a few spliffs, he's with Duncan Trussell and those Johnny Diaz, or who is it? Diaz. I don't know what his first name is, but he's always talking about fucking dumb fucks. What's for fucking dumb fucks? And so people that come onto my channel and they think it's peace and love because maybe I've got God in the title or something. No, it's about reality. Oh, you say there's no reality, Awake and Brave. It's a kind of like the illusory reality. Look, if we take this fundamental premise, I consider that everything is all Maya, just like the Hindus, the ancient Hindus did. But of course, then we get wrapped up in semantics and, all different sorts of facets of what it is to be human being, and it seems kind of persistent, and there is things called pain, and I do appear to be sitting on a concrete wall, and this has a certain reality to it, a certain reality. So everything I'm saying has a certain reality to it, and I don't believe or stand by anything, absolutely nothing. This thing it just is. And it's vastly more complex than anyone has ever even come close to grasping. And so we're all just fucking around, people. But I thought I'd just make it clear to the new viewers where I stand on ego. My ego has taken me around the world, 45 countries, of which I've travelled to and lived in many of them. I've travelled to lots of countries multiple times. So there's 194 countries on the planet. Well, I've travelled 194 times to 45 of these countries. And I've learnt a lot of things, and I've always been my own boss and my own man, and being very well versed in lots of subject matter, very well read and experienced. Well, to have a pronounced ego is my prerogative, and for those shrinking violets that can't handle it, it's because you can't handle the truth. So, any shrinking violets out there? Want to say something about that? Anybody want to say anything about the Awake and Brave thinks he knows everything, or you're not the only one with wisdom, or lots of people saying what you're saying? Well, I say, I've been crying out for people to fucking come to talk to me, if they think they have. Because there's nothing more rewarding than a couple of intellectuals chewing the cud over certain subjects, and that's why I engage with it sometimes with some of the viewers. But very few people are up for that. because they feel as if they don't have the depth to be able to engage in sufficient conversation with myself. But you know, if people, they have a level of acceptance, you know, for how the world is, then, you know, in actual fact becomes more comfortable. And you know, I will joust with all different sorts of people and ideologies and all that sort of thing. And I used to do it a whole lot more, not so much these days. And I've always said I intend to upset everybody, because if I can get your cage rattled, if I can trigger your ego, then you'll start accusing me of my ego. Then I'll just say to you, well, look, you're pointing one finger at me, you've got three pointing back at you. So it's time now to, you say this is how the awakened brave works. It works in reverse psychology lots of the times. And so when you, your ego has a problem with my ego, well, you have to accept that the problem isn't with me, because I don't have a problem. It's you that has the problem. And so you look at that and you'll grow. How's about that for wisdom? Has Alan Watts said that? Did you hear Mooji saying it? Sadhguru? Did Eckhart Tolle ever say that? How about Krishnamurti? No. The closest I've ever heard with great wisdom and humour is Osho. Rajneesh. He was a very profound intellect, and he was very quick to put people down, put them in their place. And without a shadow of a doubt, he was a first-class guru. So it just goes to show, being humble isn't the be-all and the end-all for gurus. They're human at the end of the day, and you cannot kill the ego.